Grief is not the enemy. Grief is the teacher. Hi, I'm Kristi Hugstad, author, speaker, grief recovery specialist, and radio show host. I'd like to briefly share with you the story of my husband's suicide. Bill and I were happily married, owned a successful gym, lived in a beautiful home overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and we were fortunate enough to walk to work every day in the beautiful California sunshine. We seemed to be living the American dream. We seemed to have everything. But what seemed to people on the outside was not our reality, because Bill was sick. Bill had an invisible illness. He didn't have cancer, because if he had, there would have been treatment, there would have been a support group, there would have been cards and flowers. There were no cards or flowers for Bill's disease. Bill suffered from depression. He suffered alone, and he suffered in silence. And on October 10th, 2012, Bill got in his car, he drove down to the railroad tracks in Dana Point near our home. And as witnesses later described, he got out of his car and frantically paced up and down the sidewalk near the tracks. He then disappeared into a ravine between the sidewalks and the tracks. About 10 minutes later, a train from San Diego came around the corner, and Bill mysteriously appeared, scrambled up the rocks onto the railroad tracks, and stood facing the terrified engineer who was helpless to stop the train. He spread his arms out like Jesus on a cross and waited for 1,000 tons of steel to end his life. Bill's father had boarded a train from San Diego to come to visit. Bill Sr. was a passenger on the train that killed his son. So what does depression look like? Where were the signs? Why did I not take his threats of suicide seriously? Bill had every risk factor and warning signs of suicide. Yet myself, family, friends, none of us were able to help. So I searched endlessly for that book that would answer all the questions, the whys, the what ifs, the if onlys, and I came up empty-handed. So I wrote that book, and my book is called What I Wish I'd Known: Finding My Way Through the Tunnel of Grief. It's the kind of book that you earmark and you write in the margins, and you even tear out pages to put in your wallet. It not only has my story, but it gives you all the tools that you need to get through the tunnel of grief and once again, live a happy and fulfilled life. In addition to that, I share my personal experience about what I did then and what I still continue to do for each tool. So for example, if I'm writing about the power of positive thinking, the affirmations, the meditation, I give you examples of the styles of meditation that I'm doing. My grief has changed me. I'm a lot wiser and a lot more compassionate. And that is the gift of grief. Grief is not the enemy. Grief is the teacher. In addition to my Pilates business, I'm a grief recovery specialist. And I'm certified through the Grief Recovery Institute in Sherman Oaks, California. And they've put together an amazing certification program where we actually teach people how to get to the other side of grief, how to complete the pain associated with your loss. And by loss, I don't just mean death. We grieve all kinds of losses: relationships, divorce, identity, trust, career, faith. My life's purpose right now is to abolish the stigma associated with depression, mental illness, and suicide. I am starting the conversation that no one wants to have. I want to give people who are suffering from mental illness and depression the help they need, so they no longer have to suffer in silence like Bill did. 90% of people that complete suicide suffer from clinical depression, 90%. Depression is an illness, and depression can be treated. It starts with education. I have a program that I take to the schools in Orange County, and it's also the title of my book called Are You Okay? And are you okay, by asking those 3 simple words, it opens up the conversation for teens to say, you know what, I'm not okay. And I let them know it's okay to not be okay. 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide have given clear warning signs of what they are about to do. 4 out of 5 teens. So where was everybody? Was there nobody there to listen? And we all need to know that somebody cares. We all need to be heard. And we all need to know that we matter.